I see people joining. I hope you can hear me well. Could you please let me know how you hear me? I am wearing my mask at the moment because I am inside. So do put a plus or some kind of other sign or a word saying that you can actually hear me. Guys, please give me a sign that the sound is fine before I can start introducing myself and actually talking. I need to know that you all can hear me. I'm smiling here. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Morning, Sherry. Perfect. Hi all. We'll wait for a minute or two for a few more people to join. Meanwhile, as I said, I have to wear a mask right now. I am inside a building, but once I step outside, I will take it off and the sound will be better. It might be interrupted by the sound of the streets, New York streets, but they're not as busy right now as they used to be, so hopefully it will all be fine. And my name is Angelika. I will be walking with you today in New York. Small part of the city. We'll walk along the 42nd Street and we'll cover 6-ish blocks only, but you'll see it's a lot. It is a lot in New York. It's my 4th summer right now in the city. I moved here in 2017, so now it's 2020, my 4th summer, my 3rd year, my 4th summer. Who has been to New York already? Give me a high five or some kind of sign if you have. I know at least one person in the list right now who has. Anyone else? No? Okay, for those who are just joining, I'm asking if anyone has been to New York before. Okay, I don't see any replies, which is fine. Yes, Dasha has. Perfect. It took me, I'll start with a little bit of a personal story before we go into the tour. So it took me many visits to start liking New York. Actually, I was never a fan of the city before, but once I started, I stayed here for 1 week. I remember on one of my visits, I stayed for a week and I walked the city. I actually became a fan. And now it's the place that I love to live at, and I really adore and love New York. So we are now going to start the tour, and I will start with the most recent update. New York City is now recovering from the quarantine, from the pandemic. We are still in the recovery state. We are open at stage 3 of the opening. Face masks are now a requirement to wear in public places, such as this one, especially indoor public places. Outside, if it is possible to keep social distance, we are still, I don't wear the mask, but inside I always put it on. I have a little card here showing my love and support to the city. And we have a new slogan for New York right now. Our governor, Andrew Cuomo, while he was doing all the daily press conferences while the pandemic lasted, while the quarantine lasted, he was going live every day. And I hope the sound is not disturbing. But he would always call New York tough, New York smart, New York disciplined, and New York loving. So New York tough is our slogan, the slogan for the city right now, which I love. And it actually, I can relate to this adjective, to this description. New York is tough. New York is a tough city to live in, but it's also very loving and very caring. So New York was founded almost 400 years ago. It's relatively new, especially in comparison with European cities. Yeah, with most European cities, New York is only 400 years old, even less. It was founded in 1624, so in 4 years we will have a 400-year anniversary. And New York started on an island, which is not attached to Manhattan. It is a little bit away in the Hudson River. It's called Governor's Island, but it is officially a part of Manhattan. It even has the Manhattan zip code, and it is officially part of the city and the start of the city. And we are starting our tour with a beautiful place, one of my favorite locations. I'll start with a ceiling. Let's see if you can see the ceiling. That's the city is famous by its ceiling. One of the signs of this building we are at is the ceiling with its 12 zodiac constellations. And you can see there are some lights in there, which are, for me, they represent the stars. I think that's quite accurate, but I have never actually checked if they do represent the stars over there. You see, like this one, for me, that's the star, and the blue sky. Yes. So this is Grand Central Terminal, one of my favorite locations in the city. When I used to come here in the times before pandemic, it used to have lots of people. In general, and not annually, daily visitation of Grand Central is about 750,000 people a day. And I used to come here and I would just stand here as these two lovely ladies are standing right now. And I love just to look at the crowd, and I would always remember the words from the movie Love Actually. I have actually written them down here. It is the very opening scene. When the character of Hugh Grant talks about Heathrow Airport. So he says, whenever I get gloomy with the state of the world, I think about the arrivals gate at Heathrow Airport. General opinion is starting to make out that we live in the world of hatred and greed, but I don't see that. It seems to me that love is everywhere. Often it is not particularly dignified or newsworthy, but it is always there. Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, old friends. And as you see, for example, that couple over there, I would always come here and look for the people, the hellos and goodbyes, the running around. So that is definitely one of my favorite places in the city. We will now walk around a little bit, and one of the centerpieces besides the blue sky of the ceiling is this information booth and the clock. This clock is made of opal, and it costs $20 million. And this is like Grand Central is a meeting place for the many. And there is even a saying, meet you at the clock, which means this clock right here. Let's meet at Grand Central by the information booth clock. So Grand Central is famous for its beautiful high ceilings, windows, for its beautiful architecture. And it was first opened in 1913, February 2nd, 1913. As I said, it has more than 750,000 visitors a day, and it is not just the train station, the long distance, short distance train station. There is also a subway right here in that part of the Grand Central Terminal, which contributes to the number of people who come and go every day through Grand Central. I will now walk a little bit to the tracks, and this is a two-level track system. So this is the top level, but even it's still underground. But this is the top level, and then we can go a little bit downstairs, which we will do a little later. And there is the bottom level of the tracks, and there are 67 tracks in this terminal, in this train station, and 43 of the tracks are being used for public transportation, not for public service for the people, and about 20 plus tracks, the other 24 of tracks are used to store the trains, basically, where they wait for their departures and all that. And yes, it does remind me of Serena van der Woodsen from Gossip Girl. It is definitely the opening scene, and there are a few scenes that happen here. What I think about the other movie that comes to mind when I'm here is what is the name of the movie? It's you know, the movie with Justin Timberlake and the Russian chick, like the Russian heritage. She will laugh at me if she hears that I called her the Russian chick. But Friends with Benefits movie, where he does at the end he makes kind of proposal, not an actual proposal, but he does a little performance. He arranges a little performance for the girl. I forgot her name, the name of the actress. So they live in New York and LA, and a lot of the action takes place in New York, and one of the scenes happens here. So that's what I think about often when I come to Grand Central. So that was a little side note. But back to Grand Central, and I was speaking about the tracks. There is one secret track. Secret track number 61, which was used. I don't think it is used at the moment, but which was used for private passengers, VIP passengers, and it would take you to a secret platform, to a special platform from where you could exit directly to Waldorf Astoria Hotel, which is a couple blocks from here. And one of the most famous users of the track 61 was the President Franklin Roosevelt. He was the president in 1933, 1945, and he obviously did not want to be seen in public too much, too openly, and he would leave. He lived in Connecticut, and he would come to the city for work, obviously, and he would travel by train from Connecticut to Grand Central Terminal and exit directly at Waldorf Astoria at a bulletproof elevator. His train car was also made of steel, was completely bulletproof, and that's how he used to get into the city without, taking the traffic. I'm not sure if traffic was heavy at that time or not, but he was definitely using the trains to get here. Now, I want to go a little bit down the stairs as a dining concourse. As I said, Grand Central is not just a train station, it is also a subway station, and it is also a eating destination, because it has 35 places to eat. It actually has 60 places to shop. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but there was an Apple store here in the terminal, one of the shops. The other ones are smaller guys, or there is a farmer's market here. So there are 60 different shops in the terminal. And as you can see, all the restaurants and cafes are now closed, but I just came here downstairs before, and there is one that is open and that I'm thinking to stop by later. It's that one right there. It always has people, it always has crowd, especially in their West Village location. But this is a Magnolia Bakery. Whenever you guys in the city, do stop by the bakery. They had a few, I think a couple of cafeterias in Moscow, in Russia, but they have wonderful cheesecakes and banana pudding. They are supposed to be famous for their cupcakes, but I think it's a personal preference. I'm not a fan of cupcakes, so I usually come here for the cheesecake and banana puddings. From here, we will walk to one of the oldest restaurants in the city, in the whole city of New York, not just here in Grand Central. It's called the Oyster Bar, and it is over 100 years old. It is now unfortunately closed, but as you can see by the name, it is a seafood place, oyster destinations. Okay, perfect. You see that guy? And that girl over here. They're checking. That's awesome actually that they're here, because I was thinking how I could show you guys. But this is also one of the secrets of... Could you hear each other? Yeah. Did it work? Oh, perfect. Cool. So this is called a whispering gallery. and you can actually stand at different corners. One person can stand at one corner and the other, for example, here. And when one person whispers something into the wall, the other person would be able to hear it all the way there. And these guys just confirmed that they could actually hear what one person said to the other, which is wonderful. I have tried it once with my family, but I think it was just so overcrowded here that we couldn't make it out. I couldn't really understand if I could hear or not. But even standing here right now, I can feel the difference in the sound. I can feel the echo. I can hear the echo, and that's really very cool. Oh, in Bologna, in Italy, I never knew that. That's wonderful. And this is the oyster bar that I was telling you guys about. It's huge. It's really huge. I came here once for my birthday celebration, and they did close down on March 16th. Still here they have the note, March 16 at 3 p.m. Haven't opened up yet because we are only allowed to have outside seating, dining at the moment. This obviously cannot provide that. And this is their menu. Okay, that's their wines menu, white wines. Let's see if they have food menu. They have, yes, that's happy hour, oyster happy hour, sandwiches and all that. Like, sandwiches and happy hours are very popular in this place because the Grand Central is located midtown, and there are quite a number of office buildings here. So that's why they do a lot of happy hour and offers for the office workers. So right now we'll walk over. Love this beautiful lamps, and the Grand Central just feels so huge, so grandiose. Like, it does remind me a little bit of Moscow buildings, for example, on Tverskaya Street. Huge, gigantic pieces of art. So that's what Grand Central to me as well. Here you can see there is a direction for subway. There are 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, and the S line is usually connecting one line to the other line. So that's not actually a major one. And as I said, there are a number of shops, 60 shops to be certain, in Grand Central. They are mostly located at the street exit and entrances. So now we are going to say goodbye to Grand Central and walk out to the 42nd Street and continue our tour. There is actually a secret bar, which they also mentioned about in Gossip Girl. Again, I forgot the name of the person. Campbell's apartment. But to be honest, I haven't visited it yet, and I'm not sure where exactly it is located. I should put it on my to-do list by the end of the year, once it all opens up, to come here and check. So we're exiting to 42nd Street, and Grand Central is also a place for different events, and they usually happen here in the Vanderbilt Hall. This is another food hall, little food hall, also very much oriented for the local office people. And this is where all the events happen most of the time. And by events, I don't mean just exhibitions. For example, last year there was a photo exhibition here, but here they also have little tennis tournaments. So this is the Great Grand Central. We are now exiting to the 42nd Street. Oh, I also wanted to mention, so this is the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis foyer, the entrance. And Jacqueline Kennedy has actually helped to save Grand Central. It was initially opened, as I said, in 1913, and at that time the long distance train travel was very popular in the country. So this terminal was mostly operating the long distance trains and accepting the long distance trains. But in 1950s, with the industrialism developing, many people started to prefer planes or car rides to travel instead of the trains. And so in 1960s, the city was thinking to demolish Grand Central and to build an office building, to build another skyscraper here. The New York City Landmarks Protection Committee actually filed for the landmark status of the city, and that's why they prevented them from demolishing the station until the landmark status was given or denied, was approved or denied. And the court hearings went on for over 10 years, and the public support and the support of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis actually helped to save Grand Central. And it was the Supreme Court of the United States which granted the landmark status to Grand Central, and now it cannot be demolished. It is protected by the government, not only by New York City, but protected by the US government. And here we are in the hot city of New York. This is one of the main streets, 42nd Street, and by me taking you for a 40-minute walk along 42nd Street, it should give you a little idea how important this street is. It is in the very middle of the city. It's called the Midtown, of course. And the last thing I wanted to show you in Grand Central is this clock right there, and that's the largest Tiffany clock in the world. Actually, it is Grand Central. The Grand Central website, the Grand Central authorities claim this to be a Tiffany clock. Tiffany itself do not approve or they do not confirm, and they do not deny if it is actually Tiffany's or not, but everywhere it is stated that this is the largest Tiffany clock in the world. And this is my favorite building. It's the Chrysler Building. I love it for this beautiful crown over there, and it just looks very majestic and stylish. And this Chrysler Building is still in the world the tallest brick building with a steel facade, metal facade. So it is in some way the tallest building in that particular way, being a brick building. But when it was being built, they tried to build it as tall as possible. And for 11 months since its opening, it was the tallest building in the world. In 1929, it was opened in May 1929, and for almost a year, it was the tallest building in the world, up until the moment when the Empire State Building opened, and then that became the tallest building in the world. Now even Empire State is not the tallest in the city, but in 1931 it definitely was. This is another skyscraper, and we are standing at Vanderbilt Avenue and East 42nd Street, and this building is called One Vanderbilt because it is the first building on Vanderbilt Avenue. And that should answer the question if all streets in New York have a number. No, not all the streets have a number, but starting from East Village, we do have numbers, the first, second, and all the way till 2000 something streets. I'm not sure actually which is the latest numbered street, and it goes all the way till Bronx, and I have not yet been in Bronx. And the avenues here also have numbers. So right now we are walking on 42nd Street till 5th Avenue. But again, not all the avenues are numbered. Some of them, as we saw, for example, Vanderbilt Avenue, it has a name. There is a Madison Avenue, Park Avenue that are numbered, but they are... So what's interesting, for example, Madison Avenue, it has a name, but it is considered to be a 4th Avenue. So at some point down the road, down after I think 14th Street, it's no longer Madison Avenue, it turns into 4th Avenue, but it's still the same street. If you follow the street, you will be on Madison, and at some point it will turn into 4th Avenue. Now this building, One Vanderbilt. When I arrived in January 2017, I could only see this construction wall, like this dark green construction wall. None of this was here yet. So the grand opening ceremony for this building was held in October 2016. And it is almost completed now. The tower on top was put on in September 2019, 2 months ahead of schedule. So they are building this very fast. And this building is actually going to be the 4th tallest in New York City. Right now, the tallest building is One World Trade Center. And there are 2 new buildings that are being constructed close to Central Park, which has still not completed. They're still under construction as this one, but this, after all of them are built, this One Vanderbilt will be the 4th tallest in the city. And actually that is one of the reasons why I do not like this building, because I used to sit in Bryant Park. We are walking over there now, and I was able to see Chrysler. Right now, when we are there, I will show it to you. Right now, One Vanderbilt blocks the Chrysler building, which is a big bummer for me because I've lost one of my favorite spots. And that's that. Coming back to the streets and numbers and names, there is one interesting point which is useful to know when you come to the city. So right now we are coming to the 5th Avenue, and 5th Avenue divides the city into east and west. That is why the walk, I called our tour New York from east to west. So we are walking from east side of the city, and if we walk all the way over there, we will see East River there. So it goes up till the Fifth Avenue, and after the Fifth Avenue it is already the west side of the city. So that is important, because if you have an address, let's say you have an address, let me find any building. Okay, so you have 7 East 42nd Street right there. You could see 7 East 42nd Street. That east part is very important, because if you don't have that, you don't know which side to go. Because there could be, on the 42nd Street, there will be 2 houses with the number 7. And if you don't know, it's fine if you are at number 7. But imagine if you are at number 507, which means that you would have to take 4 blocks to the east, let's say 507 East 42nd Street. That means that you have to walk 4 blocks from the Fifth Avenue to the east. Or if you have 507 West 42nd Street, that would take you 5 blocks to the west of the Fifth Avenue, which is quite a big distance. So that's why it's always important in New York City, if it is a numbered street, to look for east or west. Sometimes it's just E or W, and that makes all the difference. And even for example, in Manhattan, there are different parts of the city. Where we are right now, it's called Midtown Manhattan, and then there is the upper town and the downtown. The upper town is also divided into upper east and upper west. Upper part over there, you could see the little greenery starting over there in the back. That's already the start of Central Park. We are not going that way right now, but as I was saying, so Central Park would go from the 5th Avenue where we are, and then it goes till the 8th Avenue, and it basically divides Upper East and Upper West sides. The Upper East is considered the old money, where all the aristocracy and very, like the Vanderbilts or all the characters from Gossip Girl, if you watched it, for example, they all lived on the Upper East side. Upper East. That's the old money, the old rich people of New York. And the Upper West is a more new money. It's new millionaires, new billionaires of the city. Or not necessarily millionaires, billionaires, but it's a more modern population, so to say. We're passing by. I'm not gonna stop here for long, actually. We're passing by the New York Public Library. I think it's open now. I think libraries are open, but we haven't checked, to be honest. The building itself is beautiful. You should go inside if you ever in New York. Definitely go inside and check their reading room and spend some time inside. I'm not going to do that right now, but I am taking you to another favorite location of mine. So we started it's actually interesting. We started with my most favorite location, and then we will end the tour at the location that I try not to go to very often, the Times Square. But Grand Central and Bryant Park are my 2 one of my favorite places because they are in the center. They are architecturally beautiful, and Bryant Park usually has a huge calendar of events. We are almost there. I'm gonna show it to you now. They have outside dining, restaurants, and sitting. It's very green and surrounded by all the skyscrapers. Over there is my where? Yes, oh yes, there you are. Over there is my baby Chrysler. So this is Times Square, not Times Square, I'm sorry guys. This is Bryant Park, and Bryant Park is famous for its events. They have opened up the lawn. Yesterday the lawn was closed, but it usually looks like this. People lying, people having fun, people eating dinner, people playing games and spending time with families. Quite often in the summer they have a huge calendar of events doing meditation, yoga, dancing, martial arts. They do Broadway performances here on stage. They do musical concerts. Right now all of that is available online, so you can actually go onto Bryant Park's website and join some of the activities they usually offer in the park. So I'm just gonna show you a little bit of life here. As you can see, they also have like a little children tables and people playing chess, people playing ping pong. All of that is being provided to the public right now. It used to be provided to the public. Right now I think you have to bring your own equipment to play, but before you didn't need to. And there was even a reading room. You could take a book and read here in the park. And that fountain is also, it works all year round, and it even in winter and when the temperature goes below zero, it freezes up. It's a beautiful sight with a frozen fountain. You can definitely Google some photos of it and see. It's very unique. We're already 40 minutes in. I didn't notice how the time passed, so I'm a little bit rushing through to get over to Times Square. This is a Whole Foods market, one of the largest grocery store chains in the city. I'm not sure about the country, but there are definitely quite many Whole Foods stores everywhere. Right now Whole Foods is owned by Amazon and operated fully by Amazon. We can order, so this store right here, actually they have closed it down for public shopping and they only do Amazon deliveries. So you could order, I quite often use it. I order groceries from Amazon and they are delivered to my home within 2 hours, which is very convenient. And so we passed 6th Avenue, which is also called Avenue of the Americas, and we are walking towards Times Square. You can already see the lights a little bit starting, and I'll show you from here this ball on top of one Times Square building. One Times Square again is the building number, one Times Square, building number, building address. What is interesting about this building is that it is the emptiest building in New York, but one of the most profitable ones. In 1995, the Lehman Brothers, the financial company, purchased this building. See, it's quite small, it's very triangular. They purchased the building and they have thought to give it to a different type of tenants, not offices, but advertisers. So they put up all the banners. I think they only have Walgreens, which is a pharmacy, on the bottom level of the building, and that's it. Everything else is the billboards and banners, which actually, so they purchased the building in 1995, and in 1997, 2 years after, they made their revenue grew 400%. So that was a very successful business model. And we started talking about that ball over there. That is the New Year's ball, the one that drops at 12 a.m. on Times Square. So the Times Square got its name from New York Times. New York Times, which is the newspaper, had their office buildings here on 43rd Street, so block over there on 43rd Street and Broadway. They opened it in 1903, and after it was opened, the city actually decided to call this place Times Square. I've read that New York Times owner was very proud that they didn't ask the city to do so. The city decided to commemorate them themselves and called it Times Square. I just wanted to show you quickly this building. We just walked by. That's the One Vanderbilt. And you see, you were initially, when I moved here in 2017, I was able to see Chrysler building over there, but right now it is completely blocked by One Vanderbilt. How it drops? Let me walk a little bit further. I'm answering the question about how does the ball drop. So right now it is. Let me show you. So you see, it has a pole. It has this pole, and the ball is on the bottom. So by December 31st, somewhere in the end of December, they would bring the ball up till the tip of the pole, and it goes down, it drops down. There is actually a movie called New Year's Eve, and it compiles a bunch of stories of New Yorkers. Very quite easy, entertaining rom-com type of a movie. And they do show, one of the stories is about the electricians who worked on this ball. So if you're interested, you can have a look and get more idea about how the ball drops. So today in New York Times Square is quite busy. I have been here a couple of weeks ago, and there were practically no people. Well, granted, I was here at 9 a.m. Now it's 2 p.m. But it is not as busy as it usually is. I'll try to walk on the other side. These guys, all the superheroes, cartoon characters, are regulars of Times Square. But Times Square is one of the most visited attractions, tourist attractions in the world, and it has approximately 15 million people coming here every day. So New York Police Department, we can see here, it is actually also a recruiting center, so you can come if you want to work in the New York Police Department. you can come here and register, get some information. So Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year. I hope this will turn here. Sorry. So this New York Police Department is an actual police station, and this Armed Forces Recruitment Station. So it's not about the police, but about joining the American Army, the American Marines and Navy, Air Forces. So as I said, I try not to come here too often because usually this is just filled with people. It's impossible to walk. Right now, this is actually very, very empty and quite pleasant to be here. Times Square is also a place for events. I hope the wind doesn't disturb you guys, but I'm about to finish up soon. So Times Square is a place for events as well, and right here where we are standing, they also usually at the time of the summer solstice, when it is the longest day of the year, they would have massive yoga sessions. Square is filled with people practicing yoga and then meditating. So the city does a lot to create it as a community space. And it's 2:22 p.m. Make a wish, guys. How high is that pole? I'm honestly not sure. Let me show you on this side. Usually the the stage for the New Year celebration is located right here, and there you could see the pole and the ball and the year number. So that's where New Year comes to the city. It was actually a tradition brought up by New York Times when they had their office right here. This is right now ABC News, and let's see, quite often you could walk over there. They usually do morning news here. They shoot morning news, and that's their studio. You could see some cameras. And as I said, 2 weeks ago I was here in the morning, and they were shooting news. This is it, guys. I will stay for another minute on. Let me know if you have any more questions. But this has been wonderful. I really enjoyed sharing a little bit about the city that I love. I really adore New York. I love it so much. And I am from Russia. From Cheboksary. That's a small town in the Republic of Chuvassia, but I used to live in St. Petersburg and Moscow before I moved here. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Please, as soon as they open. Oh, hi. From Minsk. Hi, Belarus. So as soon as the city opens, guys, please do come and visit. This is definitely one of the places that you must visit at least once. And New York, I wanted to finish up with the words of Governor Cuomo describing New York, but let me pick up my notes. Yes, New York tough, New York smart, New York united, New York disciplined, and New York loving. So New York is always loving, and it's always waiting for you. Please do come to visit. Oh, you were in New York this January. That's awesome. How did you like it? Not in New York, you say, in the US. Did you visit New York? But anyways, I'm gonna finish up, guys, now. Finishing up by this. Ooh, okay, that's fine. I thought it was a weed spot. Pot is not yet legal in New York, but we do have some trucks that sell all the different products, and I thought that was the one. All right, love you guys. Have a wonderful day wherever you're at, and see you later. Bye bye.